To enter an expense, all you need to do is go over to New Expense Report, and here you have a guided activity. The guided activity will allow the user to input all the settings that's required. So here I'm going to do a business trip. Here is details of my bank. I'll give it a purpose, weeks, expenses. I can put some additional remarks if I wanted to. This is my reimbursement, where my expenses will be paid into. And here, this is important, the cost assignment. At the moment, it's defaulted to the cost center, which I'm employed into. That could be changed. You can proportion that out across multiple cost centers if you wanted, or even assign it to a particular internal project if you wanted to. What I will do now is I'll put in the date when it's up to, so I'll just put in the date up here, so the beginning of last week until the end of the week, my weekly expenses. And then here I can enter in if there's any mileage due. So I can put here, I could depart from home or office, configurable of course. I can enter my details if I wanted to. It's not mandatory, that field. And here you can add more destinations as you go up. So you could, if you're traveling multiple times in a day, you can put all that details in. You can put your total mileage here. So I'll just put in 110 miles. I can classify my vehicle as well. Here, this can be changed, but I'll just leave that to diesel and van, 1600. So that will then calculate how much I'm due to be reimbursed. Click on next. Here now I can add my line items. So if I add in here, I will add in a hotel. So I'll just type in hotel. How much it was for. And so the number of nights, etc. You can add in any additional remarks. And also you can add an attachment. So add file, and then I'll just add my hotel receipt. So I can add that as an attachment in there. And then I will also add in some dinner. And I'll just put £20 dinner. I can put a separate receipt in there if I wanted to as well. Okay. If there's any other attachments, such as a fuel receipt that I need to submit as well, I can add another receipt at the header level. So I'll attach another file here just to attach my fuel. And I can click on add. And then that's added my fuel receipt. So finally, I click on next. Then review my details. So the total amount is £219.50. You can see that what my reimbursable expenses are, what my mileage is, etc. All in here. If I'm happy with that, to then be forwarded to approval, just click on finish. And that's my week's expenses done. When it's submitted, you can see here it's been sent to Diane Lacey for approval. Also, just in addition to this, you can add an additional step of an audit clerk. So if you wanted, rather than just going to the line manager or the project manager, etc., who's responsible for approving the expense, if you wanted to go to finance first to make sure, say, the VAT is correct, etc., so you've got some validation before it goes for final approval, you can introduce that step as well. But in this case, it's not going to an audit clerk, it's going straight to the line manager, which was Diane Lacey. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to log off and log on as Diane Lacey to approve that. So the workflow would email Diane, inform that there's an expense to approve, and that will be a task in here. Also, you can still use the mobile app to approve the expense, and same with submitting the expense report. You can do that via the mobile phone and take photos very, very simply. So I'll just log now in as Diane Lacey. To look at my open tasks, what I need to do is Diane to approve this expense. I can look at my open tasks, my workflow of tasks is what I need to do for the day, and loaded in descending order based on the date it was sent. I've got my tasks, my approval tasks, etc. what I need to do. So here I can see I've got this approval expense. I can drill into there, look at what the expense is for. I can have a rough overview of when it was created, the approval routes that it's associated to, and the cost center assignment. If I wanted to as well, I can drill in and actually look at the expense ID itself, so I can drill in here. By opening up the expense report, we've drilled in, we can see the details. I can click on View All to see all the line items that the employee has submitted, including we'll be able to see and open the attachments if we needed. And if I just want to approve this, I click on the task which follows me through this process, click on Approve. It just asks me what I want to do to summarize, but I will approve this. The expense has now been saved and been approved. And then from the line manager, Diane Lacey's perspective, when this list gets refreshed, the approval has now gone off my list. Now I'm going to return back to the user that actually created the expense in the first place. From here, as a user, I can either get workflowed an email to say that it's been approved, rejected, sent back for revision, etc. Also, if my expenses have been approved, they will also be received by an email. So the employee always knows when what status their expenses are in. If they want to actually manually check what status it's in, they can track their expenses by going to Track My Expenses. And then we can see that here, expense ID 117 that we just created and approved by Diane has been approved by Diane, and it's all ready to go. If there was still open activities, it would still be under the open, so this would list the expense still to be approved. However, once the expense has been approved, basically that's signed off, stamped, and that's sent to then the accounts department for a payment run. And then the next payment run, it will then acknowledge and pay the employee what expenses need to be paid.